In today's video, we are back on F1 2019, a video game outshone by F1 2020 and 2021, but it has a very special feature, Hockenheim, and I am buzzing to get back racing on this legendary track. With that being said, let's waste no time and straight onto the grid. F1 2019 Hockenheim circuit, a dream combination. This is a setup that we're going to be using for today's video. In all honesty, just taking off time trial, starting on the mediums with some extra fuel in the car because we can be adjusting the fuel level on this year's game as we're driving around, so we want to take advantage of that as well. 5 lights and it is lights out and away we go. Initial giveaway, well, getaway was pretty strong there, and we're going to look to sort of filter through with the AI and maybe, well, we actually wanted to do a switchback but having to avoid Mr. George Russell in the end. Actually got an illegal overtake, so we're back down to last place, looking around the outside of the AI as now on to the back street. There's actually contact between me and Gasly just minutely there, now running down this long straight. It's not really straight, it's constantly curving to the left, and I have so many good memories of this game, just driving it, maximizing it. It was really the start of F1 esports in general, and it was sort of a really just a wonderful moment in my life anyway. Playing this game, getting into the flow of F1 esports, being paid to drive video games professionally. Yeah, was also doing real life racing at this time, so it was such a, almost broke my wing on shoulder. I thought it was going to break earlier than he did, so that always caught me off guard. But yeah, getting back to the point, it was just a wonderful time in life for me going back to this game. Did dabble with streaming back then as well, enjoyed it. And it was, yeah, just a really fantastic time. One big thing on this year's game as well was just the ERS and fuel mode flicking, where you had to try and change it as much as possible during the lap. If you look to the bottom right hand side of the screen, you can see me constantly changing the fuel mode and the ERS mode, just trying to maximize it. Muscle memory from all those years ago, kicking back in and really getting back into the flow of things as we're having to make sure Lance Stroll can't get an attack on us down the straight. And once we're clear, we're going to turn off the battery, go up the inside of the AI, and a bit of wheel banging there. That was completely my fault as I sent it up the inside. Something I do remember about the AI on this year's game is they could be pretty aggressive. They could be sometimes not willing to back out of maneuvers. And speaking of that, we had a big snap of rear locking. Grosjean didn't actually do anything wrong in that instance, just a skill issue on my behalf. Locked the rears. A big thing about the driving characteristics of this year's game is you had a lot of rotation when you pulled a downshift on the car. So whenever you went down the gear, the differential and just a knock-on effect from using the gearbox would have a profound effect on the rotation, often adding oversteer. So you saw like esports drivers, when the season was happening, flicking down the gearbox at the last moment in the middle of the apex to help the rotation of the car. And it was such a really powerful driving technique back then. We did luckily pick up the DRS, and now down the back straight. Seems like Grosjean is not going to be a threat, so we can move the ERS down to high mode. I remember this was on F1 2018, not on 2020, but 2018 and 2018 and 2019, I should say, have very similar ERS deployment modes. And I do remember distinctly just having an absolute mammoth task of managing your ERS modes when driving the game, flicking between 3 engine modes and 5 ERS modes, just trying to maximize it with your fuel efficiency, your tire wear, your ERS efficiency, your lap time, as well as your overtaking or defending ability. There was so much choice, so much strategy involved in it. I don't know how it really fared from a casual player point of view, because I was just only focused on F1 esports at that time and maximizing my performance in that. But from an F1 esports perspective, it was quite enjoyable because the high modes were very powerful and you had a lot of ERS flicking to do. In honesty, it's not something I would want to do right now. I prefer the ERS modes being quite simple I think it does actually help the racing be a little bit closer in many occasions, just having like an overtake button and maybe hot lap and medium. I think having 5 ERS modes is a bit extreme, so I'm happy that the Codemasters and EA went down that road of development to take away so many of the ERS modes available to us when driving, but we are working our way up the field right now behind Nico Hülkenberg. This race in real life was absolutely chaos. Hülkenberg, with his best chance to a podium, even to date, stacked it on the final corner of the track in the stadium section. Of course, it rained on that day, and with it being a drag strip on the outside of the final corners, I'll be able to show you it in just a second as we're coming through right now. On the outside here is a drag strip. So when it rained, the water sits on top of the rubber and became like driving on ice. It was terrible for the drivers, terrible for the tyres, of course, terrible for performance, as now we're going to actually try and stay behind Hülkenberg here and then just get him on the back straight. Broke very early. That was over-compromised from my behalf there. Going to have to use a bit more of the overtake button. No, we're not. This is going to be easy on the back straight. Lovely jubbly up into points-paying positions. And now coming into the hairpin. Haven't actually won one of these challenges, I don't think, yet on previous games. So maybe we can make it happen today. I'm feeling good. And we had a small technical issue yesterday. Normally I like to upload every day of the week, plus Saturday, then take Sunday off. So, well, not every day of the week, but I think you see what I mean. 6 days of the week I like to upload. Unfortunately, yesterday I couldn't upload. I had a technical issue, and now it seems like it is fixed. And we do have a slightly different setup to be recording videos with, to be driving with, and I'm having a lot of fun as well right now. It's currently almost 10 p.m. at night. Tomorrow I have a 100-mile team treadmill running race to do. What's going to be a lot of fun as well. So basically I'm going to finish making this video, edit it, make the thumbnail, upload it, head to bed, wake up tomorrow and try to run 100 miles combined with the Sport in Mind charity, mental health awareness charity that I'm lucky enough to be an ambassador for, and we're going to do as many miles on a treadmill tomorrow as possible, supporting mental health, and we're going to be supporting our overtaking opportunities by going down the inside of Lando like a bowling ball into the back of Kimi Räikkönen. And we are still very high on the battery level, actually. It's quite nice. And maybe we can play the same tricks to Stint. No, we can't. Maybe we go around his outside, though. Maybe we can. Oh, that curb was vicious. As soon as we got on it, we got wheel spin. But that was quite satisfying, that you can't just abuse the track limits. That was nice. Not nice driving from us, in that sense, because I clearly made a mistake. But in terms of being punished by the game for making a mistake, it was very good. And you can see our teammate is already in the pits. Oh, my God. Stint, do you want to go any slower, mate? Into the final corner, had a double front lockup, and we still hit him. Right, Norris is behind us now. We need to crack on with our pace, with our stint. Big oversteer in turn 1. Double DRS through turn 1. That's quite nice. That helps us a lot. Albon is up ahead, of course, the rookie season for Albon as well. Lando Norris in his rookie season in 2019. Hopefully he's so far away that he won't be able to have a lunge at us into the hairpin. Although he would deserve to do it after the atrocities that we gave to him and Kimi Räikkönen on the previous lap. Down into third gear. Bit late on the brake. I was thinking for that corner, I'm braking quite early so far in this race, and it bit me. And that was karma striking at its instant moment. Still can't decide if third or fourth is better in a lot of these corners. Okay, we can definitely take more curb on the inside there. That was lovely. We closed a bit of the gap to Mr. Albon up ahead, using a bit more of the track limits there as well. Didn't get the opportunity to go down into standard fuel mix into this section. We are 3 tenths up on our delta on the steering wheel, so we are finding lap time. That was a bit better through the final corner, and just understanding where we can take more curbage and sort of maximize the lap time potential of the car, the track, myself, and the game through turn 1. That was much better. Albon's gone to the hard compound tires if I remember correctly, were due to box on lap 11. That was the rotation that I was talking about. When you do downshift on this year's game, it really kicks the rear around and sort of gives you a big oomph around the corner. So you have to play with that to maximize it and sort of just use it to your advantage. I probably could drop the car down to second gear there, but like I say, I just haven't played the game enough to be confident to be doing that right now. I want to focus on nailing my braking points in the car, and then I can start doing all the little tricks of the game to be maximizing performance in that way. No point to over push the car too soon. Unlucky, mate. In the gravel, that's not ideal. Only cost us a tenth. Too much curb there. 8 tenths to Verstappen. Hopefully him and Bottas can battle, as that will allow us to sort of overcut them a little bit. And then we're on the soft tyres later in the race. We'll have a big pace advantage around this track. I do remember Jarno Opmeer winning. That track limits was crazy. I do remember Jarno Opmeer winning around here. 2019. I think that was his first ever win in F1 Esports. Well, it's called F1 Sim Racing now, but was called F1 Esports back in the day. Purple first sector, not surprised. We basically went all the way to Netherlands on the first turn there. We cut it so much. Was his first win, doing the alternative strategy. Started on the mediums, ended on the softs. And yeah, the soft tyres are very powerful towards the end of a stint here. We've drained a lot of our battery over the previous laps now, as we're coming towards the middle point of lap 9. Maybe we can get away with boxing lap 10. From what I remember, the tyre deck is quite big around here, so we do have to be careful that we're 4 tenths up on our delta right now. Maybe, if it will give it to us, because we did cut turn 1, and we were, again, in Netherlands on the exit of that corner. Maybe it will give us the fastest lap, as we have pulled away from P2, who is now Sebastian Vettel, into this corner. Not really good driving from me there, in all honesty. Slid the front tyres over the surface of the road. It is going to be a new PB in the race. Okay, it won't give it to us because of turn 1. But, to be honest, it's completely fair, because like I say, I did go to Netherlands and back. Into corner 2. Vettel closed half a second to me in that final sector of the track. And now building up the speed again. We are going to have to really nail this lap. Really focus on our driving techniques. Let's try that second gear to see what happens through here. Would it help us? Big rear locking. But look at that rotation. That was sweet as a dime. That is what you was talking about. That was what F1 2019 was all about. Helping the rotation of the car in those really critical areas, and then bringing back the stability by short shifting up the gear, and that's how you generated a lot of lap time on this year's game. Down into 5th. Try not to be in the gravel again. That was much nicer. Tried to use the banking. Went wide. That's not good. And now building up the speed. One more lap until we can box. Going past pit lane entry one more time. Very good pit entry here on Hockenheim. Valtteri Bottas is back into P2. Seems to be extending his gap to Sebastian Vettel. What is not good news for us if we want to be winning this race. And he does the fastest lap of the race. Was about a second clear of us. So we are going to have to come back strong in the second stint to try and maximize anything. Right, coming into the final sector for the final time on this set of tyres. That was nice through the right hand. A good rotation into the bank corner. Bottas is closing the gap down to us, but we do have the opportunity now to put on the better tyres until the end of the race. Let's see where we can come out into the pit lane. Don't go into the kitty litter. We did a little bit going in now. Slow the car down. That was quite conservative on entry, but built the speed back up. Soft compound tyres are ready for us going down into the pit lane. What's it going to be? It's a 2.8, and it's a bit of a slow release on top of that. That is far from ideal, but seems like we're possibly going to be coming out into a nice bit of relatively clean air as Charles Leclerc is on the outside of the track. Sergio Perez is just up ahead of us. We're rejoining in P7, and we might be having the DRS already given to us immediately on our outlap. We do have the DRS given to us, and that is going to be Perez going on the attack of Leclerc, but I smell an opportunity to possibly get one of these cars here. Maybe we can get Charles, not on the entry at least. That'll be too much of a risk, but we're going to try and use the better tyres. We hit the back of him slightly in the middle of the corner just from having better grip, better traction, and now flying past him and looking to outbrake him around the outside line, and he just came a little bit into view there, but able to take the position easily flat out for us and getting up the inside of Perez. Instantly purple in the middle sector. DRS helping us just a little bit with that. Up the inside of the banking, Albon is now on the hards, just a little bit up the road from us. Of course, on F1 2019, the live sector gaps were not a thing yet, and I do think that's a really good addition that they added into the game in the future. Features, oh my god, future years. I had to stop using my brain there to try and get the car around the corner without spinning. Because yeah, it's only when you sort of go back on these features and look back when they're not there, you realise how much you actually rely on them. 1 second now to Albon. We're going to try and sneak a little bit of slipstream. We won't be close enough to go up the inside of him in the hairpin without doing it in a clean way at least. And we're able to brake late, get the car rotated. Maybe we're close enough, though, with a good traction to then have a look down the inside of the next corner. Maybe around the outside, but he doesn't defend the inside line, and we are long gone. Take your place, mate. See you later. Verstappen is up next, and that is the fight for the lead up ahead of us. 7 seconds. I haven't got too long to go. We've got an invalidation there, so we have to watch out a little bit. Bit sloppy for the left-hander, but we need to channel 2019 Brendon Leigh here. We need to cook up some lap times and really maximize the car's potential and see what we can do. Purple lap. A lot of time taken out of Verstappen in the final sector as well. Good first turn. Already gapping Mr. Albon. Getting the hang of the rotation of the gearbox. You can really see the car is much nicer placed around the corner now. Purple sector 1, 6.5 seconds to Albon up ahead of us. Let's see what we can... Well, Albon, Verstappen, I should say. Get the car slowed down. They are fighting up ahead of us. You just saw a little glimpse of it. So that is giving us hope that maybe we can close into them. Changing my brake bias and not the fuel mode. Whose problem? Engineer, I might need a bit more context than that, big man. Maybe the problem with my skill issue. That final corner was atrocious. Still fastest lap of the race, though. Getting all my changes messed up on the steering wheel right now. I'm changing the brake bias when I'm meaning to change ERS mode. Far from ideal. Now, final lap of the race. 4.7 seconds to Verstappen. Looking through turn 1. Our tyres are destroyed. They are 110 degrees. And a big lock up on the front left as well. So, probably it was the right decision not to undercut any earlier, because our tyres would have just been worse off at this point. We did make a good decision on the fuel level as well, because we are burning that down to a decent amount. Probably could have been better on an ERS strategy to maximize that during the race. But you know what? First time playing this game since 2020, so it is a very enjoyable process. And yeah, Carlos Sainz is out of the race to be topping everything off. But do you know what? I had fun playing this game. I had fun driving this track. It really needs to come back to the F1 calendar. Comment down below if you feel like Hockenheim should be back on the F1 calendar by pure merit of how fantastic this track is. Into the stadium section for the final time in this video. Final time today as we are revisiting F1 2019, and it is coming to a closure. Valtteri Bottas wins the race and I come home in P4 with the fastest lap. But an absolute ball of a time. So there we go, race is concluded, and surprisingly, we only had the fastest lap by 2 tenths versus Valtteri Bottas, dropping off to 7 seconds on the final lap of the race, just as those overheating softs took away grip, took away performance. But I had a ball, I had a fantastic time playing this game, and to be honest, I forgot how good it was. So there we have it, 2019 is wrapped up, concluded, and packaged away. Like I said at the head of this video, very underrated game in my opinion, and I had a lot of fun driving it along the way, and Hockenheim, please bring it back to Formula 1. It was stellar. It was absolutely stellar of a track. I would love to see it back on the calendar anyway. But with that being said, I've been Brendon Leigh. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video, and I will catch you next time. Grazie, ciao ciao, bye bye.